Ink-a-dink, 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 ink-a-dink. Wow! Huh, looks like, while we were in between shows, looks like, maybe it was Kevin. What do you think? He brought us the Scrabble board back and, did some letter rearranging. Yeah, some letter rearranging going on here. And it looks like he's trying to help us get to the bottom of the controversy about President Barack Hussein Obama. Because, it looks like there's a new... Well, it's not a location. It's not a born in, like on our other show, where we had born in China, born in Cuba, born in Suckabee, Alabama, born in Huckabee, Idaho, born in... where was it in Alaska? What was the town in Alaska? Hold on. We had Muscat Pass, Arkansas, born in Muscat Pass, Arkansas, and Wayne LaPierre called us up and complained about that. Suckabee, Arkansas, and of course Mike Huckabee, the former governor of Arkansas, called us and complained about that. And Huckabee Streams, Indiana, complained about that too, apparently. Parakeet, South Dakota. Hey, Tweety, did anybody call us up and complain about Parakeet, South Dakota, as being potentially the born in Parakeet, South Dakota, as being possible birthplace for President Barack Hussein Obama? Whoa. Yeah, we also had Sarah Dump, Alaska, AK. Sarah Dump, AK, Alaska. And we got a call from friend of the show, Sarah Palin, who complained about that. And then we slid back across the Pacific Ocean, across the Straits of Alaska to Kamchatka Speed, Russia, as being born in. And that took up all the letters in President Barack Hussein Obama. Kamchatka Speed, Russia. And Sarah Palin called back and said she can see over there, right from her front porch. And so now, and shout out to Kevin Gallagher on Time Out with Kevin Gallagher, is a good friend of the show. He has his own TV show on Comcast. He's on the internet. He does a half-hour show on Comcast. He expands it into a 2-hour show on radio over the internet. And he brought us another clue. And I'm going to hold it up so you can see it. The clue says, birthers suck on, I don't know about this PA-blank-INS, amoeba aid. Birthers suck on something's amoeba aid. Basil, do you know what the missing letter might be in there on the PA-blank-INS? Basil says, says beats the hell out of says it beats the L out of me. So at any rate, so that's it. So that's it. Okay, now apparently we're behind on our advertising. We're not doing the proper shout outs to our corporate sponsors, so we're going to have to get a little bit more aggressive on this one. And we've added a new corporate sponsor. Last show we added to our we already had Schweppes Schweppervescence. We added a product that used to be called A&W root beer, but we've now added, we've airbrushed in a P, so it's Paws root beer. And apparently Apparently, that's how they want us to promote it. Pause root beer. Basil's giving it the non thumbs up since he has no thumbs, but he's giving us the paw up. And are we going to get on to actually doing that interview? Because Snarky and Tweety were a little bit brusque last show because we did not follow through on our promise to interview them, and they got kind of rough with us. They played around with the graphics and took us to town, so to speak. And what are we going to do? Do we need to give in and do what you promised you'd do them, Basil? Basil says, says, first of all he's got to do is go over there and swallow a Tweety, and that'll be the end of one complainer. And just, Snarky was actually George H.W. Bush's dog until we hired him on as our camera dog. Basil says he's just a blank. Well, you'll see the end credits on the show. He's just a snark hound, something snark hound, and the second something refers to I guess the country that he came to America from, Afghanistan. So at any rate, does that mean you're going to hold off on that again? No interview this time either? And Basil says we got some more corporate sponsors to deal with first. Let's take care of paying for the show and paying our non-salaries. I mean, we could get a 50% bonus and still be pretty much not making anything. But at any rate, so Basil says we got a new sponsor, and it's right here. It is billiards ball, and it's supposed to be the 8-ball, and I don't understand this, but it's supposed to be the 8-ball. It says on our cue cards, it's the 8-ball. Oh, okay. Here's the thing. Now, with 50% more ball. Oh, 12 instead of 8. Okay. So, I think we ought to do the interviews. What do you think? Should we? Basil says, well. And now I'll translate. He says, now, I think we ought to do it, but we're going to have to do an abbreviated interview and maybe splice a few questions in through the course of the show as those questions come to Basil. You have a question then. Basil says, he says, now I want to ask Tweety if Basil were to you can't ask him that. Oh my God. Okay, hold on. Hello, Basil BuddhaCat presents. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say that. Tweety, check your caller ID and see if it might be Wayne LaPierre again. Tweety says Tweety's indicating with a wing up that it is President of the National Rifle Association, Wayne LaPierre. And thank you for calling in, Mr. LaPierre. We got your call on the last show. Your concern about us putting the theory out that perhaps President Obama was born in Suckabee, Arkansas. No, it wasn't that. It was Muscat Pass, Arkansas, that you were concerned about. And okay, he says, Win LaPierre says he's been getting some bad press about. Apparently, Congress just passed. They didn't pass a law, but they increased the funding. You know, they have this law that takes care of background, pays for background checks for federal background checks on gun purchasers, and they passed a law, and the mantra is, why don't we enforce the existing laws instead of passing new laws? A fair enough question, except for the fact that the Republican Congress consistently underfunds the background checks. They underfund the agency that handles those background checks, and so you'll find situations where they don't get enough information to identify folks like the kid out in Santa Barbara that killed 6 or 7 people, 3 or 4 of them with guns, and they don't find these folks in advance. They stepping away from guns for a moment, they didn't allow or assist the identification of the 2 bombers in Boston back during the Boston Marathon 2013. So now Congress just responded to the tragedy in Santa Barbara by adding some additional funds for background checks, for federal background checks on gun purchasers, to try to find folks that had slipped through the cracks, so to speak, and had purchased guns that are that have some mental incapacities, that have felonies on their felony convictions, and still manage to buy guns, and in many cases, high-powered rifles, where you can kill, as in the case of Newtown next door, Newtown, Connecticut, the killing of 26 people in less than 3 minutes, which, contrary to the people who say, well, you could do it with a knife, you could do it with a fork, you could kill somebody with any of a number of ways, but you can't kill 26 in 3 minutes with most means of killing, with most violent implements, as the high-powered rifle that Adam Lanza in Newtown had, that he stole from his mom. Now, one good thing about that, one step of the way toward that tragedy, he went over to Dick's Sporting Goods in Danbury, and he tried to buy an AK-47, and Connecticut has a pretty strong law on performing background checks, and the clerk in Dick's Sporting Goods asked him to fill out paperwork and go through the 3-day waiting period, which allows the background check to be done on a weapons purchaser, on a gun purchaser, and he wasn't willing to go through that for obvious reasons. Stormed out of the store, didn't buy the gun, and that's the end of that. Thank you, clerk. Thank you, Dick's Sporting Goods, for helping implement that important law. But so what's the okay? Wayne LaPierre says that he has always been for the background checks. In fact, he claims he wrote the legislation. He says now that's not nearly true, but he does say that he's been in favor from from the get-go when the law was originally proposed. And okay, well, that's nice to hear. How do you feel about the increase in funding for that? Okay, he says, yes, the rhetorical question, aren't there better things to do with our money? Okay, thanks for calling. Wow. I would have thought for sure that somebody in their mind's eye would have snuck that, what the L, back into the okay, hold on a second. Basil BuddhaCat presents Happy Sunday Morning. If in fact this is aired on Sunday morning. Well, here we go. Now, we have former Alaska Governor Sarah Palin on the phone. Tweety has given us the wing feather up, tail feather up, all the indications that the number matches. And caller ID has told us that, and it sounds like her. And I know it sounds like her because she's got a high-pitched, shrilly screaming voice. Okay, do you have something to add to the conversation? She says she's going to be flying in the not-too-distant future over Wayne LaPierre's limousine, and she's got some pretty good armor-piercing bullets now that he's sold out America in endorsing background checks. Okay, when we speak to him again, I'll pass that along to him so perhaps he can have a armor-piercing bullet-proof roof installed in his limo. But thanks for calling. Actually, she hung up. So some of the things that Tweety and Snarky posted at the beginning and toward the end of our entry to the last show were pretty intriguing, but I don't know. We may have to post those again. They may decide to post those again because one of them said something about Cable Panther said bust DS. Now, Tweety, Snarky, I gotta tell you that this was not my idea. This whole idea of interviewing you and then taking it back. What? Basil says, time for another ad spot, and then maybe we'll slip in some video of the two house cats, Lilith and Walter. But first, Schweppert Essence. Okay. The 8-ball. Now with 50% more ball. Or 50% more 8-ball. And a little dash of purple and white to augment the black of the 8-ball. And okay. I hadn't noticed this before, but on our new improved P A&W root beer, Paw root beer, says made with aged vanilla. Okay. Doesn't say how old it is. Hon, how old is aged vanilla?
What?
It says on the A&W, on the P A&W.
Of the Paws root beer?
Yeah, it says it made with aged vanilla.
It depends on who made the vanilla and aged it.
Well, that's a clear.
The biggest thing I could give you.
That's the epitome of vagarity, or whatever vagueness is. Made with aged vanilla. Now, could it be this has been endorsed by AARP? I'm looking for it, but I don't see if it's endorsed. But hey, we're supposed to be the sole sponsor for all these products, Basil. We're not supposed to be. We're not supposed to be sharing endorsements. We're supposed to be the sole endorser of. Said. There's enough of that. Wants to talk about. We touched briefly on a little altercation that house cat Lilith is having with LinkedIn, and apparently you've got this new product that LinkedIn has come out with called LinkedIn Log, and acronym for that is LIL, which is also the first three letters of our cat Lilith's name. And what? Lilith called out from the other room that she's not our cat, we're her people. All depends how you look at it. So at any rate, so LinkedIn Log is the new product, and Lilith believes that LinkedIn stole the idea from her. That's actually her idea, this LIL. And because of that, she was thinking about assembling a team of attorneys to sue LinkedIn to get some payola out of them for stealing her idea. But come to find out that we assessed the situation monetarily, and we decided that if you're going to sue Facebook, let's say, you're going to sue them for $1 billion if they steal something from you, because Facebook is fairly well off, and if they want something bad enough to steal it, then they're worth some big bucks in exchange for that. Okay, we decided that if you were to sue, let's say Pinterest or Snapchat stole an idea of yours and put it to work and was making some money on it, then you might want to sue them for, let's say, relative to Facebook, $1 billion, Snapchat or Pinterest, let's say $50,000 you want to sue for. So that's good. There's some good payoff in that. But then we got down to LinkedIn, and apparently, relative to Facebook, Snapchat, Pinterest, if you were to sue LinkedIn, you'd be looking at a suit for about $1.48. Now, that may not be enough money in the end to assemble a team of lawyers. And also, it was a little asterisk brought to our attention on that $1.48 that's only if LinkedIn's stock rises substantially between now and trial date. So at any rate, we advised Lil, and she tweaked her tail at us and walked across the keyboard and left us a message. All right, I get it. And that's the end of that. So we got we're finished with well, obviously we're long gone for Cinco de Mayo. We're gone from Cinco de Junio. Okay, Basil says actually we're getting warmed up for Cinco de Julio. Are we going to have somebody named Julio come join us on Cinco de Julio? Basil says. Says, we're actually going to have 5 Julios for Cinco de Julio. 5 Julios, and just for good measure, we're going to throw in an additional Rubio del Rubio. That's the grandfather of Florida Senator Marco Rubio, and we're going to have him by phone. I'm taking it because Senor Rubio, grandfather Rubio, is no longer on the face of the earth. He's away in another world. Okay, Basil said, we'll do this. Just a practice run. Good enough? Okay. Tweety, are the zeros and ones lined up properly for a call from the hereafter? Tweety says, yeah. The tail feather up and the both wing feathers up. So that's a big yes. Hello, is this? It is Basil, as you might have guessed. It's Marco Rubio's, Senator Marco Rubio's grandfather from the hereafter, and he goes by the name of Rubio del Rubios. Says, he's got a new sponsor for us. Says he wants us to sponsor from Florida ruby red grapefruits. Now we've got the hat left over, the big hat, the big Mexican hat for we had it for Cinco de Junio, and that you can't see it on camera, so it's off camera, but we'll take our word for it. It is exactly the color of a ruby red grapefruit from Florida. So we could do that if he's still complaining about the fact that you keep bringing this up though. So when you bring it up, we have to we got to run with it. Senor Rubio del Rubio. You brought it up. You keep bringing it up, so we have to incessantly counter your notion that in fact your kids, that your son and your daughter-in-law, parents of Senator Marco Rubio of Florida, came to America, let's just say a few years before Castro even sat down with Che Guevara and talked about overthrowing President Batista of Cuba.
They say they'd rob your grandma blind on Wall Street, fritter her away her Medicare on Wall Street, and Pharma Oil and their pet fox don't care if she lives in a box, so long as they wear platinum jocks on Wall Street, Meow.